Good evening, everyone. The theme of my story today is finding love and then self-respect. This is about my search for first-time love and romance, and maybe also sex. I'm a bit drunk. I was growing up in a small town in a country called India in the 1990s. That was the era of romance in Bollywood stories, where the Indian boy always met the Indian girl somewhere near Switzerland. There were always flowers and mountains in the movies, and dance. And so naturally, I got a bit influenced by that. To me, that was love. My idea of romance and a long-term relationship was everything is beautiful in this world. The boy meets girl and he gets smitten. There is music being played in the background somewhere by Hans Zimmerman. The boy picks up a flower from somewhere, as if the world outside is a flower shop or a garden just waiting to hand over the flower to the boy so that he can go and give it to the girl. They did not tell in those movies that people have issues. Both handsome men and beautiful women. I was 10 years old. I went to a new school in another city. I performed academically wonderful in the school and became the academic darling of all the teachers. I was the David Beckham of my school, who was very good in civics and physics, but was very bad in soccer. It doesn't matter in India, I guess. And then there was a love story, a very one-sided love story. There was a girl in my class, because I was a boy. I thought that she is the one. I am the hero of this blockbuster movie, and she's my heroine. Looking back right now, I somehow overcame my inhibitions and approached her, and we started talking. I became obsessed with her from the heart, and I don't think it was sexual, initially at least. It was obvious that I was interested at least to kiss and express my love. But somehow I couldn't tell that to her. I was such an amazing guy, but I couldn't tell her. This was fear, a fear of loss and failure. I conclude right now that fear, a lingering fear, means a disrespect for life, which we get only once. I postponed the telling of love to her again and again. And one day, we heard, when we were 12 years old or something, another boy had written a love letter in another section of the class to a girl. And the girl gave that letter to the teacher. The boy was publicly slapped and humiliated by the teacher. I think he may have been slapped 10 to 20 times. Spare the rod and spoil the child is a good old English saying, which the English don't follow anymore, but somehow we still do in my small town in the 90s. No, did in my small town in the 90s. He became a role model for me because he was not academically a brilliant student. He did that, so maybe I shouldn't do that. I should never write love letters. I was a very practical person. I don't like to be slapped because I respect life, which we get only once. But then the girl and I were becoming teenagers. She had started evolving from a girl into a woman. My hormones had also started dancing by then, playing below the belt. And then the news came that my father had to move to another city, and I, of course, as well. While leaving, I looked at her back, and I promised I will come back and propose to her my love in the mountains of Switzerland, like those Bollywood movies. In the new city, I went to a boys' school. Only boys during my teenage years. Maybe that was the reason I could not get her out of my mind. Every culture, I guess, has some kind of a social pressure. In small towns, in my small town city of India, and because I was a good boy, the nice guy, academically and socially, sexually speaking, I had to focus on the future upcoming professional goals of my life for that one exam which will catapult me to San Francisco, and I will live happily ever after. Deep within, I waited to become successful, the definition of which for me was to get an admission to the best university of India. Then I will go with very expensive flowers to her and propose. Internet was not a part of life and telephone calls were very expensive. I didn't want to use my dad's money for my love. I feared expressing my love to her. I waited to become faster, stronger, higher. 4 years later, I met a common friend of ours who told me about that old flame of mine. There were rumors that she was involved with some boy of the school. I was shattered. She had moved on. She was not waiting for me. I was waiting for her. I called her 4 years later, many times, and although it was sweet from both sides, but she was not interested in me. She had grown up. I hadn't. I kept calling again and again and again, and she kept rejecting or avoiding me again and again and again, which was fair. Nobody owes anything to anyone. I made it to the first dream of my life, the best university. The next day, I called her again to tell her the news. Still, it did not work out. We kept talking. I loved it and used to keep thinking about it, that we talked. It was not about what she said, but it was about how she said it. And maybe she just that she said it something. I was still unhappy in the best university, fuck university. One weekend, I went to her university and stayed at her place for one day. She introduced me to another boy or man in her life. Fair enough. And she told me they're just friends. My hopes were still alive. While leaving, when we were alone for a while, I begged her that I can kiss her here. She said, no, you can kiss here. Begged her for that first kiss from a man to a woman, which is not motherly or sisterly. She said, okay. And after kissing here, I asked for here as well, because this might feel bad. She said, okay. As much as I could squeeze love out of that moment, I kissed her here and here as well. The beggar was happy that he got €2.50 instead of just €1. I left, and maybe because I did not know the wonderful art of finding love, kept calling her over the years, next few years, again and again and again. Often, she didn't pick up. Why would she? Rarely she did. One day, she told me to come to her city. She said, come to my place. It is free. No one is at home. I took the next train and went. No one was home. I kept calling. Hey, where are you? I'm in front of your door. She picked up and said, hey, I forgot, I'm sorry, I'm having fun with my friends. I still had hopes. Hope is good. Then finally I decided, okay, let's move to Germany, and started preparing for it. And then magically, she called this time. This was once in a blue moon. She said, Tushar, you're so nice. You're such a nice guy. Sometimes I think, what if I had said yes? How would you feel? I'm guessing, but I guess she called me for a new word, that I have learned, called confirmation or validation. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm guessing because I got hopes, because I'm a very hopeful person. I started calling back. She didn't pick up. Then one day after I came to Germany, a new life, she wrote me again, Tushar, I know I have not been nice to you, I hope things are great at your end. It should be as I always have wished for you. Tried calling you, but I guess I don't have your number. Why should you? Hope you check your Facebook account soon, as I need to call you. I know I have always been very disappointing to you, but you know why? Even I don't know. Waiting to talk to you. Take care. We had a video chat. She had dressed very well. I got hopes again. She told me, Tushar, that if I had told you yes, or if I tell you yes, would you marry me? Still, I started fumbling because I'm a perfectionist. I said yes, and she disappeared again. I got hope, and I called and called and called, and she never picked up again. Thankfully, in Germany, I came out of it and grew out of her. I got a lot of love in Germany. Thank you. And finally, I'm becoming responsible and understood, and I'm still understanding the unwanted complexity and amazing simplicity of life. Love, relationships, ego, validation, sex, family, manipulation, flirting, seduction, and above all, the importance of self-respect. The moral of the story, for me, is we live only once. Don't waste life. Just win. Patience and hope are good, but sometimes the answer is now. Thank you very much.